The evolution of Lacanian lack. Before we look at how Lacan's thinking evolved, let's understand what is lack. Lacan's concept of lack means that human beings are never completely whole. We enter life with a fundamental sense of incompleteness, and far from being just a flaw, this incompleteness is the very engine of human existence. It's what creates our desires, drives our actions, and shapes every relationship we form. Once we understand this core meaning, the next question becomes how Lacan's theory of lack gradually evolved. Between 1955 and 1957, Lacan's definition of lack changed radically. Let's break down the three different stages of Lacanian lack. Let's start in 1955 with lack of being. At this stage, Lacan is heavily influenced by Sartre and existentialism. The idea is that as human beings, we enter the world as a void, an empty vessel trying to construct a self. But by 1956, Lacan realizes that existential emptiness isn't specific enough. It isn't just that we lack being. The problem isn't just a vague existential void anymore. It becomes concrete. It becomes a lack of an object. By 1957, Lacan realizes the flaw isn't in missing objects. It's built into language itself. It's the lack of a signifier. At this stage, Lacan introduces the concept of the barred order, written as a capital A with a slash through it. A means autre in French, which means order in English. The order represents society, language, culture, and authority. Now let's have a look at the first definition of lack in 1955. So let's have a look what Lacan meant by being. Being here is more philosophical because Lacan is influenced by Martin Heidegger, whose philosophy says that we are thrown into the world. In other words, we are born into a specific time, culture, and family without our consent, shaping our initial worldview. And Lacan, following Heidegger, argues that our sense of being, our sense of who I am, comes from this symbolic world. The symbolic order, in Lacan's term, means language, social rules, culture, the network of words that exists before we are born. And because we are born in a world that pre-existed us, language can never fully capture who we are. There is always something missing. And because we experience this lack, we desire. Lacan is basically saying, desire comes from the feeling that something is missing in our being. We are always searching for something that will finally make us feel complete. This is why Lacan says, desire is fundamentally a desire for being. We desire things because we unconsciously imagine that they will complete us. Now let's understand what Lacan meant by lack of an object, as well as the three types: castration, frustration, and privation. In Lacan's theory, we unconsciously experience a sense of incompleteness. As a result, we are constantly searching for something we believe will finally make us whole and to fill the gap inside of us. We look for love, fame, success, or recognition from others, hoping that one of these will provide the sense of completeness we seek. In 1956, Jacques Lacan described three different forms of lack that shape human desire. Castration belongs to the symbolic order. It is the fundamental lack that we accept when we enter language, culture, and social life. By becoming part of society, we give up the fantasy of being complete or having everything we want. Frustration belongs to the imaginary order. It is the feeling of being denied something we want or believe should be ours. Privation belongs to the real order. It is a genuine absence in reality. Something is missing, not just from our point of view, but objectively. It is a lack that exists independently of our feelings about it. Freud talked about castration in terms of anatomy. In his view, men possess the physical organ and the concept centers on the threat of losing it. In Lacan, castration is not about losing a body part. It is symbolic. Lacan argues that nobody truly possesses the symbolic phallus, which is a fantasy that someone has something that would make someone else complete. The illusion that something would remove the sense of lack forever. Castration, in Lacan's sense, means accepting that no one possesses this ultimate object of completeness. And once we stop chasing the fantasy that someone has what will make us whole, we can begin to relate to desire in different ways. And accepting symbolic castration means abandoning the fantasy that someone possesses what would make us complete and accepting the fundamental lack that structures human desire. Now let's go through frustration and privation. Frustration, in Lacan's view, is something desired is not received. Privation, something is really absent. Now let's have a look at the symbolic, imaginary, and real. Lacan's theory is built around the three dimensions of human experience: the imaginary, the symbolic, and the real. The imaginary is the realm of images and the ego. It develops through the mirror stage, when we identify with an image of ourselves as whole and complete. The symbolic is the realm of language, law, and culture. It is a network of meanings and social rules that shapes how we think and relate to others. The real is what cannot be fully captured by words or images. It is the unrepresentable dimension that always escapes symbolization. Together, these three registers form the foundation of Lacan's understanding of the human mind. In 1957, Lacan moved the concept of lack directly into language itself. No matter how many words someone uses, language can never fully explain everything. Something is always left unsaid, making complete meaning impossible. A person often looks to the big other, parents, teachers, lovers, or authority figures, assuming they hold the answers. But even the big other is incomplete. The missing piece isn't waiting to be found. It is everywhere, built into speech itself.